In the news tonight, Nambua rivalry rears its ugly head again as police reassure people. Is Linda Tambuya heading towards the exit door? And pay your bills as you can afford it, travellers told.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nani.
Bulawanaka, Fiji. 18 youth from Sukanaivalu Road in Nambua, Suva are tonight in custody following their alleged involvement in another attack this afternoon. Police allege these youth threw stones at other men from Mead Road and as a result landed two, aged 21 and 27, in the CWM hospital. The two men are in stable condition. FBC News visited the area and gathered that the brawl happened at the Sukanaivalu ground. Police at Mead Road say they received a report of the alleged incident after 12 p.m. today. There was also an increase in police presence in the Nambua area. An investigation is ongoing. Chief Operations Officer, Assistant Commissioner of Police Abdul Khan, says more manpower was deployed to the area and the situation is being closely monitored. And Apanisa Wangai Randovu is live from Nambua now. Apanisa, what's happening there tonight?
Edwin, I'm joined by the Police Chief Operation Officer, Mr. Abdul Khan. Mr. Khan, if you can tell us, how fast was the response from police in coming to the area?
Yeah, thank you. We had a call coming in saying that there was some youths around in Nambua area. Immediately, the Southern Division officers were deployed, and to reinforce them, there were officers from Police Special Response Unit. Immediately, we had a total of about 80 plus officers that were deployed to the area.
Mr. Khan, if you can you confirm the safety of the community members here in Sukanaivalu?
Yeah, let me give an assurance on behalf of the Acting Commissioner of Police and your Fiji Police Force that safety and security is priority to us, that is paramount, and that is why you see that officers have been deployed here for the safety and security of every individual that lives around in here.
Mr. Khan, there was a similar incident a few weeks ago. We believe it was over the Easter weekend. Can you confirm if this is related to that incident?
We cannot confirm at this stage if it was related, but yes, there would be things that may have stirred in there, and where the youth has come up and they have wanted to take law in their own hands.
Thank you, Edwin.
Naka Panisa. Social Democratic Liberal Party stalwart Linda Tambuya is on the verge of leaving Sodelpa as she is unhappy by how she and her supporters are being treated. Tambuya recently got into trouble with the party hierarchy after posting on social media as she was unhappy with how the Kandavu constituency were treated, saying she will decide on her next political move if nothing changes. Apanisa Wangai Randovu reports it's getting worse in Sodelpa, with 3 constituencies including Kandavu not being allowed to sit in during the last management board meeting.
Linda Tambuya has been put on notice.
The party have cautioned her to be just a little careful.
It is my place to speak for 3 reasons. 1, I am from Kandavu.
Ngavoka says Kandavu was not allowed into the recent management board meeting as they are non-compliant.
We value their support from the Vanua, but the pathway to that is to set up a branch, set up a constituency council, so that it can legitimize the wishes of the Vanua.
Because they have not done their job. And to me, that's nothing short of incompetence. They need to pull their socks up. We pay the General Secretary, okay, the management board and the party.
Tambuya says it's unjust and the hierarchy is not doing its part, despite being funded by members.
The party works for the people. We rely on the people. It's not the other way around. We need them.
When pressed on whether she will stay on with the party for the 2022 general election, Tambuya says,
yes, and I continue to have offers from several political parties. But, I am not a quitter, and I will try my best. And this is me trying my best, which is also for the very first time going public, holding my party accountable.
The Sodelpa MP has also revealed the Nambua and Lomaiviti constituencies were also banned from meetings. Tambuya says members needs to be valued, as she says she will not be surprised if Kandavu decided to support other political parties. Apenisa Wangarandobu, FBC News.
Fijians are now more eager to get the COVID-19 vaccine after the clearing up of misinformation associated with the AstraZeneca jabs. The Ministry of Health says they've also noted a change in people's attitude, with more Fijians now turning up to vaccination venues. Koroi Tandulala reports the head of the United Nations in Fiji is taking the lead in promoting the vaccination, a process that government is strongly advocating on.
And you know where to jab, right?
The ministry says misinformation about the AstraZeneca vaccine that was a hindrance in the vaccination process is clearing up.
Yeah, we've actually gotten some very good responses. While some have asked for some leaders to get vaccinated and they'll follow it, that's happened.
Hundreds of Fijians turned up at the Vodafone Arena today to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, with the UN resident coordinator calling on all eligible Fijians who haven't registered yet to come on down and register and receive the COVID-19 jabs as well.
But it is important for this country, certainly for the health of its citizens, but also for the health of the economy, that we get as many people vaccinated so we can get the borders open and get people back to work.
From the numbers that we initially itself last week, we vaccinated close to 9,800 people, and this is from the second batch.
The Ministry of Health reiterated that vaccination is imperative in order for us to achieve herd immunity, and this can only be possible if Fijians get themselves vaccinated. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
And Koroi joins us live now from the Vodafone Arena. Koroi, what response have we been able to gauge from Fijians who turned up for vaccination today?
Vinaka, Edwin, as you can see, people are still lining up here behind me waiting to get vaccinated. Now, we spoke to some Fijians earlier and they say they are confident and are well aware of why it is necessary for them to get vaccinated now. Now, many of them are also bringing their family along with them so that everyone who is eligible can get registered and get vaccinated at the same time. Naturally, they just want to protect themselves from COVID-19.
I understand the government is aiming to vaccinate 50,000 Fijians as soon as possible. How are they working towards achieving this target?
The ministry has vaccinated almost 16,000 Fijians so far, and they are even reaching out to those in the interior of the rural areas. Now, according to the head of the COVID-19 task force group, Dr. Rachel Davey, people are flocking to vaccination centers around the country, which the authority says is a positive sign towards achieving their 50,000 target. Edwin.
Minaka Koroi, Fijians must pay the cost of quarantine after they arrive on repatriation flights. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangaina-Bete says it's a matter between the person quarantined and the facility where they stay during the mandatory 2-week period. The minister's comments follow cases where people said that they did not know that they had to pay quarantine costs. Sainiani Boila reports.
People arriving back in Fiji should be aware that they must pay their quarantine costs. The health minister claims saying they don't know is a lame excuse.
I mean, that's a poor excuse, yeah? That's a poor excuse. I mean, for nearly 1 year we paid. They came in because they actually indicated that they want to come back and they agreed to the airline, whoever brings them in.
Fijian Hotels and Tourism Association Chief Executive Fantasia Lockington says it's about time Fijians pay their own quarantine costs.
If you want the luxury of being able to go in and out of the country, then you need to pay for that luxury. I think that's very fair.
Dr. Wangaina-Bete says the ministry only trains staff to help handle quarantine programs and procedures in place, including testing.
Yeah, so this particular hotels, and then we train the staff, and then we assess them. Once accepted, then we take them off for quarantine.
Fijians who are dual passport holders or permanent residents of another country planning to repatriate for personal reasons are required to pay the cost of their 14-day quarantine. The charges are payable to the hotels or other quarantine facilities where they stay. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
Up ahead, Northerners get a chance to add voice to consultations, facing a harsh reality as blind school numbers dwindle. Welcome back. Public consultations and submission gathering on the review of the 3 electoral bills continue to draw public interest in the Northern Division. Most of it is centered on how the election is conducted and ways the process can be improved so that all Fijians can vote on the day. Eleanor Turangaivu reports the consultation is being taken to the rural communities first.
The second week of public consultations on the proposed changes to the Electoral Act of 2014, the Electoral Registration of Voters Act of 2012 and the Political Parties Act of 2013 started in Nambua yesterday.
I'm not actually here representing government, or Honorable Buritav is representing opposition over here. As I stated earlier, this is a parliamentary independent committee. But it is important for the people to actually understand what's going on, what's happening.
According to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, the consultations are being brought to the people so they can better understand and have a say in the proposed changes.
For those people like with disabilities and maybe bedridden and they are eager to vote and they are not able to make to the police station. What's the arrangement for those disabilities?
Some of the proposed changes include a new voter identification card, increased polling stations, confined election period, removal of the restriction on party identification in the national candidates list, prohibition of the use of state resources in party campaigns, and the enforcement of the blackout period.
People will hear your voice. Election is yours, not ours. It's yours, the people.
The consultations continue in Nambua today and will start in the Kaunrove tomorrow. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
And Eleanor is in Taveuni and joins us live now. Eleanor, how have things been going with the consultation starting tomorrow on the Garden Island?
Definitely, Edwin, consultations on the 3 electoral bills will begin here in Taveuni from tomorrow. There are only 2 consultations that are scheduled for the whole island. The first one is at Somosomo Village tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Those of you who are living in areas close to Somosomo, Lamini, Welangi, those in Matei, Nangara, if you're interested in knowing about the changes, the proposed changes to the laws governing our elections and voting, please come down to Somosomo Village tomorrow afternoon. And the second one will be held at Wuna Village at 11 a.m. on Thursday. Now, after these consultations, the committee will then head back to Parliament, where they will present a report. From the report, then it will then be decided whether further consultations will be needed or the report will then be tabled and passed as bill in Parliament. Edwin.
Naka, Eleanor. Over a year has passed since the first case of COVID-19 here, and since then it's been a year of severe economic health and psychological consequences for many. Amongst them are our visually impaired students who've had to drop out of blind schools for economic reasons. Jeshulal reports.
I wish to see with my both eyes.
To see the beauty of the world is a dream for the visually impaired such as Raina Kumar, but for many others it is now even too tough to attend school.
Because most of the parents, those who lost their jobs, they took the children back to the villages.
The Fiji Blind School says they live in hope that parents will soon enough be able to afford to let their kids resume studies.
There have been quite a lot of movement last year due to COVID-19. This is because some parents lost their jobs and some were not able to afford renting in urban areas, so they had to move back to their villages. They did not want to take their children away, but there was no other option. But they have informed me that as soon as things normalize and they're able to get their employment back, they will be back in school and the students will rejoin the school.
Despite the hardship and academic barriers, many of these students have excelled academically. These visually impaired students have now become a part of major organizations across the country. Jeshulal, FBC News.
Congo national Kiala Henry Lusaka has claimed that his wife Jennifer Ann Downs died of an alleged drug overdose. Lina Rees reports this was revealed in the video of Lusaka's caution interview shown in Suva High Court today.
This was murder-accused Kiala Henry Lusaka following the trial this afternoon, requesting not to be filmed leaving the courthouse. During review of the video recording of the caution interview, the police read a statement to the accused from the father of the deceased, Christopher Downs. It was heard that Lusaka sent him photos and videos of Jennifer Downs lying in a bedroom with bruises on her face and coins placed over her eyes. When questioned why Lusaka sent the pictures and videos, he claimed that he wanted to show his former father-in-law that his daughter was allegedly overdosed on cocaine. During the interview, police read the post-mortem report to the accused. It stated the cause of death to be as asphyxiation due to strangulation. Lusaka was quick to defend himself, saying that he would never kill his wife. The 39-year-old man is charged with one count of murder for allegedly killing his Australian wife in July 2019 at their rented home on Service Street in Suva. The murder trial continues in the High Court tomorrow. Lena Rees, FBC News.
Still to come, Vanuatu villagers mourn the death of a prince. And later in sports, we tell you about a Fiji cricket rep following in his brother's footsteps.
Many resorts and hotels in the Western Division say that the local market over the past year has been able to only sustain them in a few areas, which includes pay and daily operations. This is the harsh reality the tourism industry has been facing, even though a number of businesses remain open, especially on the weekends.
Majority of tourism-related businesses continue to operate largely due to the local market. However, some say it may not be able to continue sustaining them in the long run.
We had to adjust to the local menus, rates and so forth.
Some of these hotels and resorts have even had to change some things within their operations just in order to attract the locals.
For Tanwai, so far it has been okay. Can't complain, but could have been better.
They're also pleading with the Australian and New Zealand governments to work with Fiji in opening up the travel bubble, which will see thousands of Fijians benefit from it. Meanwhile, there was a bit of good news for other sectors of businesses. Soon, a few of them will be exporting to the New Zealand market.
I'll put them in touch with our trade team in the office, who will then stay in touch with them and continue that discussion with them about their product placement in the New Zealand market.
This is an ongoing work led by Miller, who will ensure that others also affected by COVID can make a living through the New Zealand market. Philippa Naikaso, FBC News.
A new ANZ Fiji country head has been appointed. He is Rabia Yazbek, who has more than 20 years of banking experience. ANZ Regional Executive Pacific Tessa Price says Yazbek will bring a wealth of experience across customer segments, products and international markets. He will take over from outgoing country head Saad Minam, who finishes his term as CEO at the end of this month. Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar showed healthy gains across the region today, rising against the Aussie and Kiwi dollars as well as the PNG Kina. However, it slipped somewhat versus the major international currencies we cover. Prices on the commodities market were mixed. Oil went back on the rise, hitting $60 a barrel. Gold dropped slightly to close at $1,736 per ounce. And silver closed down at $24.96. Sanifa joins us now with the latest from the money market.
Good evening. New Zealand's March quarter business survey has signaled that their economy is on a solid underlying footing. There has been no impact on the Kiwi dollar, although markets are braced for the central bank's interest rate decision. The absence of international tourists has been a drag on activity over summer, but strong demand for hiring and investment highlights the potential for GDP growth over this year. The US dollar hovered near a 3-week low against major rivals today, pressured by lower Treasury yields as traders awaited highly anticipated US inflation data. The greenback has retreated along with the US yields this month after surging to multi-month peaks on expectations that massive fiscal stimulus coupled with continued monetary easing would stimulate faster US economic growth and higher inflation. That's a wrap from your HFC Bank, Vinaka.
The Singatoka Town Council has planned several developments to make the town more attractive. Local Government Minister Pramila Kumar says they will be putting up an amphitheatre to facilitate public gatherings. An amphitheatre is an open circular or oval building with central space surrounded by tiers of seats for spectators. Kumar says the Chinese government has supported the council in developing the open space.
The work should begin soon, and it should be completed at least by July of this year. They also plan to put up a bar and a restaurant just next to the old Singatoka Bridge.
That is the latest from my end, but after the break, we are off to Kandavu, where climate change has started to impact many more than before. Stay with us as we tell you more after the break.
Welcome back. Villagers of Vunisea in Kandavu have been told to start moving further inland as rising sea levels have started damaging homes. This is the second village that is facing the full brunt of climate change just months after the relocation of Narikoso villagers. Kelly Vadala reports.
Keresi Soko has been living in Vunisea for over 6 years and seen changes occur in their environment.
And we can feel the difference. Like they have to put, and then they start telling us that very soon we'll be shifting more to the back because the water is really coming up.
Fisherman Sevenava Tavingi says they have to go further into deep waters in search of a good catch as produce from farms is not meeting the demand.
I've lived here all my life, and I can honestly say that climate change is real because water is coming into the village. Even our small fiber boats are damaged. Farms are producing less.
We don't allow our children to come close to the coast because of the rising sea levels. It's risky for them to play along this area now, especially if they don't know how to swim.
Over the years, communities in Kandavu have been through multiple climate change programs, empowering villages to become more resilient in the face of a global crisis.
This is my fourth year, six months serving in the island, and I've experienced 3 cyclones.
The Rokotui Kandavu and traditional leaders ensure their respective villages are aware of government climate funds and programs that help contribute to their climate change fight. Kelly Vathala, FPC News.
The flight crew is the first ever parkour group in the country that has joined hands to inspire the youth of Fiji. The group is made up of dancers and youth that were inspired by movies, cartoons and comic books, and in the process gave the youth a platform to express their talent. Dipesh Kumar reports.
The Parkour program started in 2020 as more people showed interest on social media and the traditional media.
Mostly my first inspiration was like from movies. Back then I didn't know it was a sport, like I just did it for the fun of it. Just by like, because I really admire like all the stunts.
Been watching too many Spider-Man movies and then wanted to put it to a real deal and then train myself to become one of the best.
Actually I started dancing and doing this genre called b-boying, where I started doing flips and power moves.
Members say the program also have health benefits and it encourages the participants to use their own environment to stay active. The COVID-19 pandemic had a negative impact on many people. However, for this group, it opened up a unique opportunity to assist fellow Fijians.
The first ever parkour group in Fiji hopes to compete in the international competitions once the borders are open. Members of the group say that people of all age group have shown interest and are waiting for the next workshop. Dipesh Kumar, FBC News.
In our question and answer segment tonight, we hear more from Sodelpa leader William Ngavoka.
Linda had also quoted the word incompetence. What does this mean for the leadership of Sodelpa?
I think it's an unfortunate choice of words.
what I've been highlighting is something that needs to be done. It has been allowed to continue for some time. Somebody should have intervened there and then and correct this. As you say, we are a new team, and we are just very, very careful that we don't get into grief with the register of political parties because of something that we know that should be rectified and is not being rectified.
Can you tell us what is the party doing to resolve the issue regarding the Kandavu constituency?
We have people who are ready to go to Kandavu. The president and I were planning to go and help them set this up. It's a matter of documentation. It's unfortunate that we have not been able to secure that kind of documentation that would enable them to meet the conditions of the constituency. Yeah, it's a good question. We will be helping them complete the documentation. As I said, the former General Secretary, who's very, who understands all this well, and being a voice of Kandavu, will be helping in documentation together with Honorable Sion Rasova.
Mr. Nambua, how confident are you that Linda will remain with the party for the next general election?
I don't think Honorable Tambo is going to jump ship because of this. She's a very loyal supporter of Sodelpa and a very valuable member of the team.
And Jamie's up next with all the latest in sports.
Thank you, Edwin, and good evening. Ahead in sports, Fiji finals ticket race heats up. And RKS Eels lay low ahead of grand final. This and more coming up. First up in sports tonight, all grandstand tickets for the Coca-Cola games have been sold. However, officials have petitioned to increase the social gathering capacity from 50 to 80%. A total of 3,000 grandstand tickets have been sold, while 3,000 concrete embankment and 4,000 grass embankment tickets are still available. Karalaini Tavi with this report.
Games officials say the tickets are going fast.
But I gather the grandstand tickets have all been sold out due to the capacity that was given to us. And I know there are tickets that will be made available for the embankment and ground on the day, and I'm sure that is still available.
Coca-Cola marketing manager Lawrence Sikaram says they're optimistic the request to expand the social gathering capacity will get a good result before the games.
We have made an application to the relevant authorities to try and see whether we can get increased capacity, and we look forward to those results.
The return of the Coca-Cola games is a morale booster for athletes.
This is something that we are really glad about. And the athletes coming back after 1 year of a stand down has been much greater than before, because I think most of them missed the games last year, and now they really want to make their mark.
The total city capacity for ANZ Stadium as per COVID-19 protocols is now 10,000. Tickets for the concrete embankment are going for $12, while a ticket for the grass embankment is $10. Karalaini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Karalaini Tavi joins us live now from Laudala Bay. Kara, is there any hope for those of us who are yet to purchase tickets for the Coca-Cola games?
Jamie, the grandstand tickets may all have been sold out, but there is still good news for fans around the country, not only for the Coca-Cola games, but for other sports as well. The Fiji National Sports Commission have sought the approval from the COVID-19 task force to increase the social gathering capacity from 50 to 80%. This proposal to the task force is in relation to all outdoor sporting tournaments. If approved, there'll be more tickets for the Coca-Cola games and other sporting events as well. And for outdoor venues like the ANZ Stadium that have a seating capacity of 19,000, they are only able to house more than 10,000 people. Jamie.
Thank you, Kara. Now, the recent wake-up call for our national sevens side at the Mara's Sevens was a blessing in disguise, according to Waisale Serevi. While many fans are against the idea of having a national side play in local tournaments, the maestro thinks that's the best solution we have at the moment. Aquila Dama with the details.
Serevi says this is the kind of test the national squad needs compared to some international competitions.
I believe watching the Dubai Sevens last week and same time watching the Mari Sevens after that, I believe the level of competition in the Mari Sevens, I believe, was higher than the Dubai Sevens. I saw France was playing, Argentina was playing, Canada was playing, and a couple of other African teams.
The national team have featured and won local tournaments like the Uluinakau, Nawaka, Marist and Uprising Sevens, but they return the prize money. A lot of fans have taken to social media saying the national seven squad members should play for their clubs, but many don't realize our border is still closed and players will not feature for their clubs at the Olympic Games.
I know that people are saying, oh, they shouldn't play in this competition, and what we should think is there's nowhere for them to go to play. You can train as hard as you can, but match fitness is very important. That's what they're trying to do, and I ask clubs and I ask people to make sure, keep supporting them, because we need the goal and we need them to keep training, especially playing competitive rugby.
The national squad continues their preparations for the Olympic Games and hopes to get some international exposure before heading to Japan. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Joining the Taveuni rugby side last year has been a blessing for Simeone Kuruvoli. The nippy halfback stood out for Taveuni during the 2020 Skipper Cup competition and went on to be the youngest player for the Flying Fijians during the Autumn Nations Cup. Karlaini Tavi with this report.
And now Simeone Kuruvoli.
After not being able to break through into his dream team Suva, this 22-year-old continued on to play rugby but for a different provincial team. This is where he caught the eye of Flying Fijian coach Van Cotta.
I was happy, quite nervous too, since I'm the youngest. It was always been a childhood dream to don the edges.
The Kandavu native says joining Suva is still on the cards, but for now it's all about pushing for Taveuni.
Yeah, maybe next year, but since for now, Taveuni has been, the boys have been preparing well, all the teams have been preparing well for this season.
Kuruvoli was injured last week and didn't feature in the 1913 loss to Namosi, but the team knows it's not long before he is back at 9.
I think from talking with him, I think 3 weeks, in 3 weeks, that but he'll boost our camp with his experience and exposure.
The Saramambai coach side will take on Northland in this week's Skipper Cup clash at Nakelo District School. The Taveuni Brigade is hoping Kuruvoli makes a return soon to help guide the side. Karlaini Tavi, FBC Sports.
The under-19 Ratu Kandavu Levu Eels are taking the underdogs tag for the Fiji Secondary Schools Rugby League Vodafone Trophy Grand Final this weekend. Their win over Western champions Bar Provincial Dragons last weekend was a huge boost for the side, heading into their showdown with Nasinu Panthers. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Following a dominating display over the Bar Provincial Dragons, which saw them win 25-8, the RKS outfit is hoping to mirror that performance in the final.
There's a lot of things that we need to improve on before meeting Nasinu. We'll go back to the drawing board.
The side was placed second from the southeastern zone, but defied the odds and reached the final. Players were also constantly reminded of one thing during that match.
We had to take our chances. Once we get into the red zone, we had to convert it to points.
With the grand finals for the under-15, under-17 and under-19 grades to be held in Suva, organizers are again anticipating some good action.
It speaks volume of the development that the teachers have done in their various schools.
The finals will be held at the ANZ Stadium this Saturday. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
The month-long Raiwanga Basketball Association interlane competition came to an end last night with SPOAT taking top honors in the men's category, while Nambua Magics won the women's. The community-backed initiative doesn't end there, though, with a number of exciting programs lined up for the remainder of the year. Venina Rakautonga has more.
The competition has not only proved successful but has been a medium of bringing the Rewanga community together.
Most of the national team, or a majority of them, is from Rewanga, so they're here giving back their time. If they're not playing, they're coaching. If not, they're on the bench helping with the officials, but everyone's involved. It's a community effort.
Organizer Apenisa Naitini says as the interlane comes to an end, Rewanga will still be busy with basketball activities.
Hoping that the word gets out. We also have clinics on Saturday mornings for the kids, and we have kids that's coming out of Suva, so that's promising to us.
Next on the list for Rewanga is the provincial games.
Program coming up, it's a provincial game, and then we have confederacy game. By the time we won't let our kids, our youths go to other sports, but we want to keep them in Rewanga.
Rewanga has been long known for its basketball powers, and the stalwarts of the sport in the neighborhood want to continue to be known as the basketball hood. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
A trip to India in his prime years was what inspired Darshan Kapadia of Lautoka to take up the sport of cricket. Now, after being selected to the extended Fiji squad preparing for the East Asia Pacific qualifier in Japan, Kapadia hopes to mirror the achievements of his other inspiration. Venina Rakautonga files this report.
This man wants to follow in the footsteps of his younger sibling who was also part of the national squad some years back.
In 2016, he got selected into the Fiji under-19 squad to go play into the World Cup. So yeah, that kind of motivated me more to become a part of cricket and just play it and have fun.
An engineer by profession, Kapadia was laid off due to COVID-19, so he has turned his focus into making the final team.
I've always wanted to be a part of it because my brother's been a part of it, so I just felt like I should try and make it to that level. And yeah, being selected in the squad is a huge honor to be.
Senior selector Meli Saumulinayau says just like Kapadia, they have seen many raw talent during past week's competition.
There are some very good young players that have also represented Fiji under 19. They are still playing now, and we want to develop them further to represent Fiji in the main team.
30 cricketers are part of the national training squad. The number will then be reduced by July ahead of the East Asia Pacific qualifier. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
In today's Play of the Day, Corner Ben producing the most destructive display of his career to knock out Samuel Vargas in 80 seconds in the British welterweight division. Two right-left combinations rocked Colombia's Vargas, a barrage of punches followed, and a hard uppercut on the ropes saw the bout stopped. Now, some of you might know snail racing is an actual thing after watching the 2013 animated film Turbo. But did you know of the World Snail Racing Championship? This and our quickie sport of the day. That's it from Sports Tonight. Angie joins you with weather right after the break, and later on the story of a panda and his bamboo rocket. This and more coming up.
A big hello to you and welcome to the Weather World. It was a quiet yet sunny Tuesday for the country, not a bad looking start to the week. We still need to get few showers for the drier parts of the country just to get that flow going. Now let's quickly see what the rest of the country had today. The west had warm sunny spells. It was well for gardening, jogging or simply just having your time under the big shady trees in your backyard. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, you know Suva hardly has straight days of sunshine, so make the most of it now. Showers won't be a disturbance tonight, so don't worry. And up north, more sunny spells prevailed. Sunshine had its way. The town or city we picked today is Nambua, Lautoka and Savu Savu. All these centers had great sunny spells. The Hidden Paradise had 28 degrees. It was quite hot, and that is because of humidity at 87%. Now, I would call that hot, and so does my friend here. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, low tide at 12:09 a.m. with high tide at 6:40 a.m. Sunrise at 6:19. For tomorrow, the good energy is pushing all the nice clouds and sunshine towards the country, and that is why we will have amazing dry spells. And looking further on to Thursday, we'll have 1 or 2 showers to the far north. Otherwise, we should have a decent day. Now on to our shot of the day. It is of Sawa Ilau Limestone Cave in the Yasawa group, captured by Royalesh Nand. Remember to send us pictures with a small description to our FBC News Facebook page. That's all from the Weather World. After Fijian Pulse, Edwin will tell you about his favorite animal. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, should Australia and New Zealand include Fiji in the travel bubble?
I believe this would open up our job opportunities for our locals, because right now we have been going through a lot with these COVID restrictions, and I think this would be a best way forward.
So it will be employment for the hotel workers and all that. The economy will generate.
Fiji is undergoing COVID-19 right now, and family and people in Fiji, they need money. So why not going to overseas and get money from there? Because it's really a brilliant idea.
Yes, I think Fiji should be included because it's going to be good for the economy, and people will be re-employed.
And in a world of the weird and the wonderful, a panda in Russia and a bamboo rocket ship have become great buddies. And recapping our main stories, police have reassured people of their safety after the latest Nambua brawl. Linda Tambuya is not giving up her fight with Sodelpa, and Kandavu faces climate change crisis. For these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, we are asking, is bullying an issue that needs to be reported to police? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or get in touch with us via social media. You can also download our app and keep updated with the very latest in news and sports, as well as listen to FBC's 6 radio stations. That's your FBC News and Sports for tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Wadamanda.